When you look at the events that take place at the end, one of the signs of the end is the regathering of the Jewish people.
In the midst of the ongoing Israel-Hamas war and the escalating nationwide protest owing to Israeli reforms, a new sign has emerged that could change everything we know about the end times. Recent years have witnessed the remarkable unfolding of prophetic events, from the mysterious alignment of celestial bodies to the widespread acceptance of the mark of the beast in various nations. Yet, concealed within these shocking events lies an overlooked sign, intricately connected to the four horsemen foretold in the book of Revelation. What is this biblical sign pointing towards the end times, and why has it resurfaced now? Join us as we explore the new end-time sign that just appeared in Israel. Can a 2,700-year-old book unravel the mystery behind current events? When it comes to the Bible, the answer is yes. The Bible is littered with several prophecies that offer intriguing glimpses into potential future events and the overall trajectory of human history, as possibly revealed by a divine source. These revelations could inspire a sense of anticipation and preparedness among believers, acknowledging the imminent fulfillment of certain prophecies and calling for a response of faith and obedience. From the ancient divine instructions given to Abraham to the prophetic visions of rising and falling empires received by Daniel, it seems that God has always been involved in guiding those dear to him. However, not all prophecies bring comfort and good tidings. Among the most unsettling is the prophecy of the four horsemen. The signs of their presence and the impending impact on Earth are becoming increasingly obvious. Recent global events over the past half-decade exemplify the growing visibility of these signs. In the book of Revelation, particularly in chapter 6, we encounter a passage referencing the four horsemen. Here, a remarkable scroll is observed in heaven, sealed with 7 enigmatic seals. Initially, no one is found worthy to open these seals and unveil the scroll's contents. Yet the Lamb of God, symbolizing Jesus, emerges as the sole worthy being to undertake this task. As the Lamb commences the opening of each seal, a sequence of devastating judgments is released upon the world. These judgments, known as the opening judgments of the tribulation period, are depicted through 4 riders astride horses of distinct colors. Buckle up as we will explore how each rider and horse symbolizes a different sign of the end times that have now seemingly emerged in Israel. Now, let's look at the first horseman. Within the shadowed corridors of biblical prophecies, the first horseman stands as one of the most dreaded predictions in the Holy Book. Here is the story. In the book of Revelation, specifically in chapter 6, verse 2, John experienced a momentous event that changed his life. Probably will do the same for you. He witnesses the opening of the first of the 7 seals and shares his vivid account. "And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer." Throughout history, this verse has captured the attention and imagination of many, as it carries symbolic significance and hints at a deeper meaning. Some interpret the white horse and its rider as a representation of the Antichrist mentioned in the biblical book of Daniel. According to Daniel's prophecies, the Antichrist is described as an evil prince who will establish a 7-year peace treaty, rise to power through eloquent speeches, and overthrow the rule of 3 other kings. Under this interpretation, the appearance of the white horse and its rider signals the arrival of the Antichrist and marks the beginning of 7 years of divine judgment known as the Tribulation or the Great Tribulation. During this time, God's wrath and judgments are poured out upon the world. The white horse, with its rider holding a bow and wearing a crown, symbolizes the Antichrist's deceptive and conquering nature. The bow signifies warfare and aggression, suggesting that the Antichrist will employ military might and political cunning to establish his dominion. The crown represents his authority and power, which are granted to him, possibly indicating a supernatural source behind his rise to prominence. To gain a deeper understanding of the signs that have recently appeared in Israel, it is important to explore who exactly the Antichrist is. The term Antichrist itself is not found in the book of Revelation, but is mentioned in the epistles of John. In 1 John 2:18, John writes, "Children, It is the last hour, and as you have heard that Antichrist is coming, so now many Antichrists have come. Therefore we know that it is the last hour. Additionally, 1 John 2:22 states that the Antichrist denies the Father and the Son, while 1 John 4:3 refers to those who oppose Christ's teachings as the Antichrist. In essence, the Antichrist is described as someone who is against Christ and seeks to deceive and lead people astray from the truth. In the book of Daniel, there are references to a figure known as the little horn, or the man of sin. This individual is portrayed as a powerful and arrogant ruler who exalts himself above all gods and persecutes the people of God. He is associated with the end times and is seen as an adversary of God's people. Some interpretations suggest that this figure in Daniel's prophecies serves as a precursor or foreshadowing of the Antichrist, mentioned in other biblical texts. It is believed that the Antichrist will arise in the future and embody the characteristics of the little horn described in Daniel. In the book of Revelation, particularly in chapters 13 and 17, there are detailed descriptions of a beast and a harlot associated with the Antichrist. The beast is depicted as a powerful political and military entity that receives worship and authority from the world. The harlot represents a false religious system aligned with the beast, deceiving people and leading them away from the true worship of God. The white horse that war rides can be seen as a metaphor for the deceptive nature of modern warfare. It represents how conflicts are often initiated under the guise of noble intentions or righteousness, but can quickly descend into chaos and suffering. War represents not only physical warfare, but also includes the proliferation of violence in various forms, such as terrorism, civil unrest, and ideological clashes. It symbolizes the deep-rooted divisions, aggression, and power struggles that exist between nations, communities, and individuals. Moreover, the bow that war carries can represent advanced weaponry, technology, and the ability to wage war from a distance. It symbolizes the increasing sophistication and destructive power of modern warfare, including cyber warfare and the potential for devastating consequences on a global scale. In this interpretation, the crown worn by war can represent the pursuit of dominance, power, and control that often underlies conflicts. It signifies the desire to assert authority and impose one's will upon others, leading to widespread suffering and destabilization. Overall, the modern interpretation of war as the first of the four horsemen highlights the urgent need for peaceful resolutions, diplomacy, and cooperation in addressing global conflicts. It serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences that result from the failure to find peaceful solutions and the importance of striving for harmony in a world plagued by violence and strife. The second horseman. With the first seal dramatically broken and the emergence of the white horse and its triumphant rider, John's mystical vision persisted, drawing him deeper into the unveiling of the great scroll. And there, to his astonishment, he beheld the opening of the second seal, giving rise to a vivid tableau, a rider upon a fiery red horse. This second figure, wielding immense power, was destined to strip peace away from the earth, plunging humanity into a maelstrom of discord and bloodshed. In the scriptures, this fearsome rider is portrayed brandishing a formidable sword, a potent symbol of the violence and conflict that would sweep across the land. It is a striking contrast to the first rider on the white horse, who, despite his conquering nature, arrived without a sword and seemingly brought a semblance of peace. Here, on the red horse, the deliberate eradication of peace takes center stage. The promises of tranquility made by the Antichrist, the embodiment of unrighteousness, will prove hollow as people turn against one another, plunging the world into an abyss of hostility. True peace, it seems, will elude them, rendering the peace treaty orchestrated by the Antichrist a futile endeavor, perhaps cunningly designed to solidify his power. One can reasonably speculate that the Antichrist, in his insatiable thirst for dominance, will resort to warfare against those who refuse to align with him under the guise of the peace treaty. Consequently, the absence of peace will unleash a torrent of turmoil and chaos upon the world. The consequences of this complete absence of tranquility will undoubtedly be dire, plunging the inhabitants of that time into an ever-deepening abyss of suffering. There will be no respite from the escalating troubles, for the Lamb of God shall continue to unseal the remaining scrolls, revealing further prophecies and events. The unfolding revelation paints a vivid and sobering portrait of a world consumed by turmoil. This absence of peace, coupled with the relentless unveiling of the seals, portends a time of immense suffering and tribulation. As each seal is broken by the Lamb, the intensity of the events heightens, exacerbating the already dire circumstances. These seals serve as conduits for divine judgment, laying bare God's unfolding plan for the earth. The subsequent seals, yet to be opened, hold further revelations and judgments that will shape the course of history during this extraordinary period. Indeed, the opening of the second seal is but a glimpse into the cataclysmic events that lie ahead. The subsequent seals, when unsealed, will unleash a cascade of devastating consequences upon the earth, leaving widespread devastation and insurmountable challenges in their wake. Humanity will find itself teetering on the precipice of despair as the world grapples with the unfolding of divine judgment. Thus, the journey through the unsealing of the seals continues, as John's vision propels us forward into a realm where peace is shattered and the consequences reverberate with unparalleled force. The third horseman. As John's visionary journey continued, he witnessed the unveiling of yet another rider, astride a powerful black horse. This enigmatic figure embarked upon a specific mission, carrying out a command that would have a profound impact on the earth. The command pertained to the sale of food, as the rider ensured that a measure of wheat would be exchanged for a mere penny, while 3 measures of barley would also be obtainable for the same price. It is important to comprehend the significance of the term penny in this context. The penny referred to a Roman coin known as the denarius, which held the value of a day's wages for an average laborer, particularly the valiant soldiers serving in the Roman army. Meanwhile, the term measure denotes a quantity smaller than a quart, representing the amount an individual would typically consume within a day. Essentially, this enigmatic passage implies an alarming scenario where food prices skyrocket, rendering an entire day's labor sufficient only to procure enough sustenance for one's immediate consumption. Such a predicament raises valid concerns regarding how individuals will manage during weekends or provide for their families, not to mention how they will secure other essential items. The world, it seems, will be plunged into poverty, likely as a direct consequence of the global warfare that will ravage the planet. In the 5th verse, the rider is portrayed wielding a pair of balances, symbolizing the meticulous weighing and measuring of goods. Furthermore, in the 6th verse, the rider is explicitly instructed not to harm the oil and the wine. This additional detail reinforces the notion of severe rationing unfolding during this time of scarcity. To gain a sense of what this rationing may entail, one can draw a parallel with the toilet paper shortage experienced in numerous stores during the tumultuous year of 2020, albeit on a much smaller scale. The vivid imagery suggests that people will approach resource allocation with utmost care, handling their limited supplies of wine and oil with cautious deliberation. It is crucial to acknowledge that the opening of the 3rd seal does not mark the culmination of the Lamb's revelations. There are still several seals yet to be unsealed, indicating that this prophetic sequence of events is far from over. The implications and unfolding consequences of these revelations continue to captivate and intrigue, leaving us eagerly anticipating what lies ahead. The 4 horsemen. As the Lamb continued to break the seals, a momentous event unfolded when the 4th seal was opened. Emerging from the seal was the final rider, mounted upon a pale horse. The Greek term used by John to describe the horse indicates that it possessed a distinct pale green hue. What distinguishes this rider from the previous ones is that he bears a name: Death. Accompanying death is hell, a chilling presence that follows closely in his wake. In this captivating passage, death is granted unprecedented power over a quarter of the earth, with the authority to bring about demise through various means. Death brandishes a formidable sword, symbolizing the horrors of warfare and violence. Moreover, he unleashes death through the harrowing specters of hunger, disease, and savage attacks by untamed beasts. This suggests that the preceding three horsemen were unleashed in swift succession, almost simultaneously. The fourth horseman, Death, claims the lives of countless individuals, alluding to the wars initiated by the second horseman. Additionally, he inflicts suffering through famine, hinting at the scarcity and rationing brought forth by the third horseman. Furthermore, people fall victim to fatal encounters with wild creatures during this cataclysmic period, emphasizing the perilous nature of the environment. Remarkably, Death's arrival impacts a staggering 1/4 of the Earth's population, and he is closely trailed by Hell, an ominous presence that further exacerbates the gravity of the situation. Some interpretations posit that the reference to 1/4 of the Earth may signify the resistance of an entire geographic region, such as North America, against the Antichrist, only to face complete annihilation as the Antichrist retaliates, unleashing warfare, famine, and savage animal attacks upon them. However, it is important to acknowledge that interpretations of such symbolic passages may vary. The imagery presented in the opening of the fourth seal underscores the profound severity of the unfolding events. The pale horse, ridden by Death, evokes an overwhelming sense of dread and foreboding. The authority bestowed upon Death to claim lives through diverse means serves to underscore the devastating consequences of these tumultuous times. The close proximity of Hell lurking behind Death intensifies the gravity of the situation, hinting at a descent into darkness and spiritual turmoil. What does the sign of the four horsemen represent today? And is the part of Christians in all this? The black horse mentioned in the book of Revelation represents an event of extreme inflation. Inflation occurs when prices skyrocket, causing the value of currency to erode over time. This poses a significant threat to society and devalues money, making it increasingly difficult for the common man to afford basic necessities. However, it is worth noting that the affluent still have access to luxuries, as hinted by the phrase, "See thou hurt not the oil and the wine." This contrast in the impact of inflation on different segments of society is a familiar reality in our world today. When the third seal in Revelation is opened, revealing the black horse, it signifies impending economic turmoil and suffering. The black rider on the horse symbolizes famine, as indicated by the scales in hand, suggesting food rationing due to scarcity. Throughout history, we have witnessed such scenarios in various parts of the world. In the modern context, inflation is a concept we are familiar with, measuring the increasing prices of goods and services over time. The passage in Revelation vividly depicts a situation where a day's wage can only afford the ingredients for bread. This mirrors the real-world impact of inflation, where the cost of living becomes burdensome. We can draw parallels between these ancient verses and the economic challenges we face today. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, serves as an indicator of rising prices across goods and services, and recent data reveals a 3.7% increase in August. This rise erodes the purchasing power of individuals and families, making it harder for them to afford their basic needs. While inflation rates may fluctuate, the overall trend is upward, dispelling the misconception that a lower inflation rate means cheaper goods. Instead, it signifies that prices are still rising, albeit at a slower pace. Understanding this distinction is crucial in comprehending the economic challenges people face in a world where inflation affects their ability to meet basic needs. In Israel, a terrifying event unfolded, casting a dark shadow over the usually joyous Christmas season. Bethlehem, a Palestinian city in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, was gripped by fear and despair as the ongoing Israel-Hamas war forced the cancellation of all festive celebrations. The city, known as the birthplace of Jesus Christ, would bear witness to a somber and unprecedented Christmas in 2023. At the Emmanuel Evangelical Church in Bethlehem, the atmosphere was far from merry. Senior pastor Nihad Salman, driven by the urgency of the situation, retrieved a haunting banner from the depths of the church closet. Depicting a desperate woman fleeing amidst bomb-shelled buildings, the banner bore the chilling Arabic words, "Let us arise and worship God." This symbol of suffering and resilience had last been displayed during the 2021 conflict between Israel and Hamas, and now it serves as a poignant reminder of the harsh realities faced by the city's inhabitants. Salman recognized that amidst the chaos and devastation, an opportunity existed to share the gospel and offer solace to those living under military occupation. He understood that in times of crisis, people often search for truth and meaning, and his church was prepared to provide answers. Undeterred by the absence of traditional celebrations, Salman remarked, "We have lots of work to do." Beyond Bethlehem, church leaders across the Holy Land made the difficult decision to mute Christmas festivities. The ongoing Israel-Hamas war had cast a pall of sadness and uncertainty, overshadowing the joyful anticipation that typically enveloped the region. Bethlehem, normally abuzz with more than 3 million visitors from around the world, was now devoid of its usual throngs of pilgrims, replaced instead by an eerie stillness. This unprecedented turn of events held significant implications for the region. The cancellation of Christmas celebrations symbolized the profound impact of the Israel-Hamas conflict, as it not only disrupted the lives of countless individuals, but also thwarted the annual commemoration of the birth of Jesus Christ. It served as a stark reminder of the harsh realities faced by those living under military occupation, while also highlighting the resilience and determination of individuals like Pastor Nihad Salman, who sought to offer hope and guidance in the face of adversity. In these uncertain times, it is crucial for Christians to maintain their faith and trust in God. The challenges we face can easily lead to fear, doubt, and anxiety. However, by grounding ourselves in the teachings of the Bible, we can find strength, hope, and encouragement to persevere. One biblical narrative that exemplifies unwavering faith is the story of Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel remained faithful to God despite facing persecution and the threat of death. When he was thrown into the den of lions, he trusted God's protection. The outcome of the story demonstrates the power of faith and God's faithfulness to his people. Moreover, the Apostle Paul's life is a testament to the importance of faith in difficult times. Despite enduring various hardships and persecutions, Paul remained steadfast in his faith and continued to spread the gospel. In his letters, he encouraged believers to trust in God's plan and to rely on his strength. One of the most well-known verses from Paul's writings is found in Philippians 4:13, where he declares, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This verse serves as a source of inspiration for Christians, reminding them that with God's empowerment, they can overcome any challenge. In addition to these narratives, Jesus himself provided teachings on faith that are relevant to our current circumstances. In Matthew 6:25-34, Jesus instructs his disciples not to worry about their basic needs, but to trust in God's provision. He reminds them of the value of seeking God's kingdom above all else, and assures them that their heavenly Father knows their needs and will take care of them. This passage encourages believers to have faith in God's faithfulness and to prioritize their relationship with Him above worldly concerns. In times of uncertainty, it is natural for doubts to arise. However, as Christians, we are called to anchor our faith in God's promises. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. This definition reminds us that faith requires trust in God's character and His ability to fulfill His promises, even when we cannot see the outcome. By studying and meditating on these biblical narratives and teachings, Christians can find the strength and encouragement needed to navigate through challenging times. Faith allows us to rise above fear and uncertainty, knowing that God is in control and that He will guide us through every trial. As we hold fast to our faith, we can inspire others and be a source of hope in a world longing for stability and peace. Thanks for watching another episode of Beyond Discovery. While you're still here, click on the other videos you see on your screen right now.